Ready. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to more Transaction Tuesday with the Freedom Team. If you're part of the Freedom Team and you're part of EXP, it's exciting to have you here each and every Tuesday, of course, where we talk about lots of different ideas, cutting edge, what we can do today in order to grab business, whether it be on the listing side, on the buyer side, whether it be a sphere of influence thing, open houses. Today, we got a special topic, one that people don't often want to talk about, but one that people absolutely need. If you're a guest, by the way, you're not part of EXP, we want to welcome you. You're more than welcome to come in any Tuesday. We do this every single week, same link, same time. And again, you heard it, we cover incredible ways to get business today. My name is Eric Golden. I'm one of the Freedom Team founders here. There's 4 or 5 of us that work together. And but we're excited. We're excited to have each and every one of you here. We're coming up against the end of the year. No better time to learn a skill than today. And the skill that we're going to learn today is something that we all should have in our arsenal. It's something that will never fail us, but it's also something that we often don't utilize. And it's the concept of actual, I'm going to say it, here goes, cold calling. Cold calling. Something that people never think they want to do because they don't understand how productive it truly is. The other aspect about cold calling, before we get our speaker out here, I want to remind you is when you're cold calling, you're calling someone that doesn't know you. Now you're going to sit there and say, Eric, I knew that. That's why it's a cold call. But what you're forgetting is you'll never see them again. The benefit of cold calling is you're never going to have to face them across the table playing bridge or shooting pool or at a restaurant, unless they like what you have to share, and then you can become lifelong clients and buddies. So again, I want to remind you the heavy lifting is already off when it comes to cold calling, because number one, we're going to teach you exactly how to do it, who to do it with, and how well it works. And thank God I'm not the one teaching today. Miss Anna Sena from center or middle part of Tennessee, we'll call that the Brentwood or Nashville area, and she's as hot as Nashville can get. I'm telling you, this woman is a 3-time icon here at EXP, and for those of you that don't know that, that generally means they're selling at least 30, 35, 40 transactions a year, sometimes significantly more. And one of the benefits of being an icon here at EXP is EXP will take your cap, which is about $16,000, and give it right back to you for hitting the icon status. It's awesome when you realize you can come to a brokerage and be at 100%. And you can do that here. You just got to do a little bit of work. Well, today we're going to talk about how to sell more real estate, how to get more listings. We're going to do it with ICON, 3-time ICON Agent Anna Sena. And welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Eric. My stomach is a little bit in knots and I'm so nervous, but that's part of cold calling. You know, I mean, it's do it anyway, right? It doesn't matter how you feel. And I know it actually, for me, it's kind of like blood pressure medicine. If I'm having a bad day or if I feel like a little bit weird and I start cold calling, I actually get relaxed and I feel calm and I feel like all is good with the world and I'm going to be okay. And I started doing cold calling about 25 years ago with my father. And it's kind of a joke. He put me in a room with a telephone book and told me, don't come out until you make an appointment. And so no windows, you know, just shut the door. And I didn't know what that meant back then, but I know it generated a lot of business for me. And so, you know, Kathy Carter asked me, you know, to train on this and to come up with some scripts and to kind of show you what I do. I have very informal training, you know, and I never really use scripts. I have in the past, but it's just kind of a backdoor, you know, sit in a room and pick up the phone and kind of learn as I go. So anyway, I just want to put a full disclosure here. I've been in Tennessee for about 16 years. I was a broker in New York, and I really didn't have to do a ton of cold calling because we had a business there. I had a real big sphere of influence. when I came to Tennessee, I was a fish out of water, as you could kind of see. So it was really hard for me to get business. And even though I did some cold calling when I first started, actually we were in the commercial business in New York. It didn't occur to me that we could do that. So like back then I started with like Craigslist and, just trying to find my way around in Tennessee to get acclimated. And it was a guy that handed me a computer with RedX on it. And he said, I always wanted somebody to use this. And he gave it to me, he paid for it. I was kind of struggling here in Tennessee. And he said, I guarantee you, if you use this, had a second job at the time and 2-3 jobs, just try to, pay the bills. And he said, I guarantee if you use this system, you'll be a full-time realtor, in 30 days or maybe 45 days or less. And he gave me the system and I made my first $5,000 check. And then in like 60 to 90 days, I was doing it full time. So, but anyway, the full disclosure is I have not done cold calling in a couple of years. So I do it sporadically when I want to. I do it when I'm asked to do it. But I've built such a large referral business that, and I have such a big database that I don't need to do it anymore. I love to do it. I love to train on it. And when business gets a little slow, I jump in there. So I'm probably not the best role model for that because that's not, but in the beginning, it was every day, 5 days a week, minimum 100 calls a day, but now I don't have to do that anymore. So anyway, if that makes sense. So
let me ask you this question. So we're not complete strangers to everybody. You've been in the industry for quite a while. You've talked about that. You've 3-time ICON here at EXP the last 3 years, and you haven't done a lot of cold calls, but it's in your nature. It is something that you're very comfortable doing. And so while you're talking about the idea that you don't do it all the time, this skill is one you just don't lose once you get strong enough to do it. Then you've got to get warmed up again. Then you've got to warm up again. And at 100 calls, 100 calls, 100 calls, it's no different than calling expireds or calling FSBOs. It's 100 calls. And the bottom line is, let me ask this question, Ann. If any of our people, let's say Dakota, he was the first person here today, if Dakota said, I'm going to do exactly as Ann says, how long will it take him to shake any kind of rust off and actually get comfortable with doing what you're about to teach?
Well, that's a great question. And you use the word rust. And I feel like today I'm going to be a rusty bucket of nails, just because I am. I'm just going to be rusty at it. I would say if you did it for 30 days straight, consistently for 2 to 3 hours a day, I have taken people who are never in the real estate business, and I started them on the phones and on a triple dialer, and I can explain what that is in a minute. And the first thing they would do is just leave a voicemail. So we would sit side by side and they would get that rusty bucket out in a voicemail. Hi, my name is Anna Sena. I'm with eXp Realty. I just was calling to see how you're doing. Please call me back at blah, blah, blah. And I would ask them to change the voicemail over time to make it more like their own. Hey, this is Anna Sena, eXp Realty. It's a great day, whatever, and change it up, change it up, change it up. Get comfortable talking on the phone. Get comfortable leaving. I would say the first 2 weeks, don't even talk to one live person. Leave these crazy voicemails. I'm like Crazy Eddie. Not everybody's at this style, and probably nobody knows who Crazy Eddie is. I'm dating myself, but pick your style. But like one thing my dad always taught me, like when you're talking to people, I try and teach this to my kids, like you look around the room and, you're always scanning the room. You're always seeing, what can I talk, oh, look at that restaurant, look at that picture, look at, and so you want to be able, you got 60 seconds to make this cold call your best friend. So you start with a voicemail to get them to love you. Like Jay always says, and make them fall in love with you. And that's the easiest thing we could do is not make this like scripting, even though, you know, I've used scripts and they're great to stay on point, but to actually just make them fall in love with you is a beautiful thing. And the harder they are on the other side, the more I love that. I like that's more of a challenge, you know, for me. When they're just like butter in your hand, I'm like, oh man, all right, give me the hard ones, you know. It's sort of a game that I play. But anyway, it's just really interesting. People on the other end are just dying to talk to you. I mean, they just are. You don't think they are, but they are. Now today, I'll probably everyone hang up on me, but
So now we begin. We now know that it's going to take some time, without a doubt, in order to become proficient at it. And there'll become time before the butterflies, they never go away, do they? And they just
they
line
never
up
go
in
away,
formation.
never go away,
They
never
just
go
line
away.
up in formation. They go around. But tell us what we would do to get started. Tell us your story, how we take over from here. No more Q&A until you throw it back to me. This is the session that we're all prepared for. Take it away, Miss Sena.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen if I know how to do that. Let's see. Okay. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mojo Dialer, that's going to be my, I don't know, it's my blood pressure, it's the rhythm, it's just what, hence the name Mojo, you know, it's just what gives me energy, it makes me fired up, it makes me so happy. I love this system because it has great, you know, data, like it's a great manager for all the data. So it does not give you leads. So you have to import the leads from a system that I use. I mean, you could use RedX or anything you like to use. I like Vulcan 7. And I could just kind of show you what that looks like. And it is gives you for sale by owners, expired, withdrawn, for rent by owners, and also neighborhood calls. So you could, you know, just load up the neighborhood. And what they do is they're so nice, this company, Vulcan 7. And by the way, if anybody is interested, please put me down as a referral. I partner with them. They import into my Mojo Dialer. So you could see on this left side where it says property calling lists, here are the new, and I apologize, I did shut off the leads because I have 40,000 leads in my database. So I kind of, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So I just shut them down until I can get a little caught up. So you have your for rent by owners here that they import every day, fresh new leads, the canceled, expireds, and for sale by owner. Then you can import calling lists. You can import your own neighborhoods if you like, and you could group them in any way. And then along with my Mojo Dialer, I use KV Core. And as I'm calling these leads, we have something that we call Zapier or Zapier. I don't know if I'm saying that right, where it pulls a trigger that when you get a lead that you're talking to on the phone, you could zap them right into your KV Core, and you could put them on a campaign. You could text them, you can call them, you can send a video to them. Mojo doesn't have all that great technology as KV Core does. You can bulk import into KV Core, or you could use the zap effect and do one at a time, okay? And then you could group these people in neighborhoods. You can group them if they're hot, if they're warm, any way you want to set this up, you could do it that way. Now, before you start actually dialing, I would highly recommend that you, know what to say, right? So you can either use a script, you can, Tom Ferry has amazing scripts. Like I said, I don't really use them. If you want to, you could do a survey and take a survey, do it like a pulse on just ask them 5 questions. You could start off with the voicemails, but there's a lot of information. I highly recommend the Tom Ferry for scripts, and you could just pull them right off of his site. The other thing I would highly recommend is to have something, some paraphernalia. As you're calling these leads, they're going to tell you things. They're going to say to you, I'm sick, and, maybe they have COVID. So you're going to get have these little Popeyes here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but have stuff made up. So I have like a sick basket. I have a bunch of flyers. Like for Christmas, we're going to do this wrapping paper like this. This was from last year. We did about, 200 wrapping paper with a Christmas card on it. And so we use that for prospecting. We also use it for our sphere, but also if a lead, we start talking to them and they're very nice and they, show some interest, we'll drop it right on their front door. And so having these little things, Popeyes, we use a lot of popcorn. This is like a caramel popcorn with a handwritten note, and we will have it on a door hanger. And so, it's amazing when you talk to somebody on the phone and then boom, the same day they got something on their door hanger from you. That shows them something. That speaks volumes to them that you're on the ball, you're not lazy, and you are really ready to go. Another thing is I keep handy is some Starbucks cards and like Sonic cards here. Just ready to go, $5, cup of coffee. Again, and make these things very, very personal. And then I have all kinds of different postcards. Again, I don't know if you could see any of this. These are just postcards that we do. We write handwritten notes and again, it's personal. Talk about their teenagers, talk about the windows that didn't come in, talk about the grass that can't grow. I do a magazine for luxury. And then I also have a couple of things for luxury. So, and then I have a cash buyer for those distressed properties, something that you could do absolutely free. Okay, this is a cash card, and you could get vendors on the back to support this. I have 10,000 of these that I get shipped to my office, and they are 100% free because all these vendors bought ads on the back of them. So, you could do this for pennies on the dollar. Of course, we like our magnets. This is a 911 magnet. We do appeal a lot to the elderly community. At one time, we were calling people, and it was so depressing that we had people would just say, I'm going to die here. I can't move from here. And so we had a caregiver she was actually a nurse. She was a retired nurse from Canada. I think she was like a psychological nurse, actually. And she would go door knock. I would send her down to see if they need anything. Like, she wasn't giving nursing, but like she would do run groceries. She would just be a companion. And we would send her down just to see if they needed anything. And then she would be in the home with them, got to know them on a very non-threatening basis. And unfortunately, when the people died, she got to know the family, and then the family would then call us. And that's how I bought my home. I bought my home in Brentwood because of a caregiver that stayed in touch. Now, this is not a one and done process. This takes time. This took a few years for this gentleman to finally call me up, and he said, I want you to sell my house. And it turned into, I want you to have the house. He wanted me, and it was during the time when the market was sky high. I could have listed it for top dollar. He wanted me to have the house because he knew I cared about him. He knew that I sent that caregiver down to bring him groceries, sit with him. And so we built a relationship that way. So this is long-term. This is not, sometimes you get lucky and you hit it right out of the gate, but this is not like, we're just going to, sometimes it is, sometimes it could be that way, but for the most part, it is going to be a long-term process. That's why once it's built up and the database is there, you don't have to do it as intensely anymore. So I guess that's it for the paraphernalia. The other thing the dialer does is you can set tasks. You can use a calendar to see who you're going to call for follow-up calls. And I would recommend that you do your follow-up first before you do any cold calling. And I love Mojo because it can set tasks for birthdays. It can set tasks. It could do letters and labels. You can do, so if you wanted to drop somebody popcorn, you could set that task. You can give that to an admin to do. It sets your appointments. It tracks your calls, and it puts it right on your calendar. So that's pretty cool. All right. Let's see. So you got your paraphernalia, you got your leads imported into Mojo, your different types of leads, your neighborhoods, your expired, your for rent by owners, they're categorized, and then away you go. Now the dialer comes with two options. You can either do a triple dialer or you can do a single dialer. I highly recommend the triple dialer. And everyone says, oh, I'm new, I can't do it. Actually, the triple dialer, you're going to talk to less people, but it's going to be more quality because it's going to blow through 3 leads at one time. And the nice part about it is I use 2 phones. So I have my regular phone, and then I hate to say this, I know it's being recorded, but you do have to have like a little bit of a burner phone because the triple dialing is going to mark it a spam. So eventually, so don't use a phone that you, use on a regular basis. So either like your KV core number, or you could do a Google number, or you could get a burner phone. So anyway, just that will happen with the triple dialer. But what's nice about it, while you're making calls, because the dialer is doing so many calls at one time, your phone is going to start to ring off the hook. And if you do it right, back in the Remax days, we used to have four dialers going at the same time. And so it does 3 calls at once, and that's 16 calls at one time. 4 people doing that, the phone is going to blow off the charts. I mean, and it's going to create a tremendous amount of work. And so what I do is I keep a fresh yellow pad. And every day when I start my session, it's going to be just this blank pad here. I'm going to take a tremendous amount of notes. At the end of the session, now you got work. Now you have a job. Now you've created work for yourself. And so that's the purpose of it. When I call my follow-up calls, I don't do that on a triple dialer. I do that very slow, more methodic, more care goes into that, because these are people that I spoke to, I talked to, I know them. I don't want to just blow their phone up. I'm not looking to get I want to be more careful about that. So I will use a single dialer for follow-up, triple dialer for brand new leads. So that's really it. You got to have the leads, you got to have the system, you got to have the paraphernalia, have your scripts ready. And if you like, I could do some live calling now.
And let's do this. If you'll come back to shared screen, right now you've got control over the screen. So if you know how to stop sharing, do you know how to do that?
Yeah, well, let's see.
I think I can.
Can you stop sharing for me?
Yeah, I think I can make that work.
Stop share. Here it is. Okay.
Good deal. Okay, you ready?
Am I ready?
No, go ahead and click it. If it says stop share, stop share.
I did.
Okay.
Did I not?
Good. Yeah, you're perfect. So with that said, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's you've given us some background. We now know the pieces of what you utilize. You've listed them well. You've also got me my head spinning with 40,000 leads. I'm sitting there being crushed thinking about you accumulating those kind of leads over time. So let's talk now about okay, you start your day, you got your list of names, you've got everything inputted. Now it's time to start making calls. What do you do? What's your head say to yourself? What's your mindset going into a 2-hour session where you're going to make, I don't know how many calls you're going to make or how many people you can talk to? What are you thinking as you're going into that, especially if you've never done it before? What would you say to people that are doing this for the first time?
You got to get fired up. You got to be fired up. You got to stretch. You got to stand up. First of all, you got to talk loud. You got to have confidence. And I would say for the very first time, start with those crazy voicemails. I'm telling you, it will get the rusty bucket of nails out of you, but you have to, that's your script. Hello, my name is. Then you start with, when the people are on the phone, like I did this in stages, but I had a girl, she was like a deer in headlights. And I taught her how to cold call from scratch because she started with the phone, with the voicemails. Then she started with, are you the owner of? Because remember, some of this data is not going to be 100%.
Right.
You're going to get 500 leads, and maybe out of 500, you're going to get maybe 250 to 300 that you're going to have the right name and the right phone number and the right address. Okay. Very important. What's a good lead? What identifies a good lead? To me, it's a breathing body that is in the right name, the right address, and the right phone number. If you get an email, you're golden. Eric Golden, right? So the second part of this cold calling is now you're calling that cold list. And I hate to call it cold calling because they're not. They're people that need you. They need you. You're not bothering them. You're helping them. There are people that are sitting in homes today that are hoarders, that are ashamed to pick up the phone and to talk to a real estate agent. They're scared. They're frightened. They don't know what to do. And you're on the other end and you're their saving grace. You got to change your mindset that you're bothering people. If I called you today and said, hey, I want to buy your home and you don't have to put it on the market and I could give you top dollar for that home and you didn't want to do that, would I be bothering you? Or am I just your lifeline right now? Now, I realize not everybody has that opportunity to do that, to buy homes, but if you have express offers with EXP, if you get certified with that, Offer Pads also offers cash offers. And then if you call for rent by owners, those are all investors. Everyone says to me, well, I don't have investors. Call for rent by owners. Investors are a dime a dozen. Okay. Everyone should have minimum 50 investors in their arsenal. If you don't, very easy way to get it. For rent by owners, they all have multiple properties. I mean, everyone calls themselves an investor, right? Not everybody is, but if you dig deep enough and you do it long enough, you're gonna find the developers, you're gonna find the flippers, you're gonna find the buy and hold guy, you're gonna find these people. And so then you're gonna have another set of way to cold call, but you have to build up your database to do that. Did I answer your question? I don't even.
You easily did. So we're going to take it bite size. Over the last half hour of this training, let's start one step at a time. The first step is voicemail. So you're going to need us to learn a voicemail. So we'll stay with that as content. You're instructing me. You're going to teach me what I'm doing. Brand new. I've got my dialer. I've got either that or a phone. I've got a list of names. I'm ready to go. First thing you told me is I'm going to get excited. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to go, okay, let's do this. Now, one of the things I want to do is begin with the end in mind. And the end is twofold here. I want to know that I'm going to do this for a period of time and it's going to work. So tell me stories about it working, because I need to be motivated before I start. You were a cold calling queen. Your dad put you in a room without windows. By the way, you can get locked up for that today. But he put you in a room without the windows with a dialer and said, you go to work, and gave you a script. Now, assuming that was the case, which I know it was, first thing you wanted to do was leave voicemails. But you're not motivated to do that unless you know it works. Tell us stories that work. Just tell us it works. Tell us making 100 phone calls, 200 phone calls, 2 hours worth of phone calls a day, 5 days a week, 10 hours of my life given up to cold call. Tell me, Ann Sena, it's going to work for me.
So people say cold calling doesn't work. People say cold calling is dead. It works with consistency. If you do it one time, it does not work. You're going to be discouraged and you're going to quit. It's like going to the gym. If you go on a treadmill and you start lifting weights once a week, you are going to be in trouble. You're not going to have results, and it's going to be a struggle every time to get to that gym. And not that I work out at all, I don't, but the analogy of sometimes just going to the gym. I mean, I used to belong to a very nice gym that had a full bar, cocktails. It was a nice gym. Sometimes I just go to the gym just to get in the mindset of I didn't work out, but guess what? I got my body into the habit of going to the gym. Now, I don't recommend that, but it's the same thing with cold calling. You're going to need time with this. Give yourself 30 days. If you can't give yourself to it for 30 days, don't even pick up the phone. Don't try.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, but if I'm going to give myself 30 days, I need deals. I need them today. I don't have a way to get them today, and I'm not going to buy them through the lead sources that are not reliable anymore and too expensive. So you're going to teach me to make phone calls, and it starts with cold calling. So I'm going to call people and leave voicemails. I'm going to do it in an animated format. That way I can get my energy up and be memorable, right? So what would I say? Give me an example.
Hey, this is Ann Sena with eXp Realty. Just calling you today to see if there's anything in the world I could do for you. Now, that's a Ricky Carew that I stole.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what it is.
It works like a charm. It works like a charm. Anything in the world I could do for you, please give me a call.
Click. So when they call you back, do they ask you real estate questions, or do they ask you who's going to win the election?
It depends. You gotta follow the bouncing ball. That's why I'm not scripted. You got to go where they're going. If they're talking about the election, you're talking about the election. The biggest mistake people make is when people call you back or you talk to somebody on the phone and they're talking about their kids or they're talking about the election and you go somewhere else. You got to go where they're going. Follow the bouncing ball. That's why using techniques, even in the supermarket, learning how to open a conversation, close it down in 60 seconds or less. You could, like practice that. I used to teach my kids, go pick up that pizza, talk to that guy, come right back out. And my kids used to say, Mom, you're the only mom that tells me to talk to strangers. Most parents are not doing that, but anyway.
So I leave my, hey, Eric Golden, eXp Realty, just calling to see if there's absolutely anything I can do for you on this Tuesday. Give me a call back. Here's my number. Look forward to speaking with you. Click. Good. Yep. I got that. I'm going to do that for a period of time. Now, what happens if I'm dialing somebody and they answer, even though I'm only prepared to say, hey, this is Eric Golden. What can I do for you today? So how does that go?
Okay, two things. You're not gonna. So I would either sit next to somebody who could grab the phone. That's how you would train. I grab the phone right from them. Or if you can't do that, personally, I would just hang up. I mean, that's probably not the. I mean, you could fudge it, but you're not gonna. I would. So let me scratch that from the record. You probably shouldn't hang up on people. That's not kind. Sit next to somebody.
Why not? They hang up on us. I mean, I just want people to realize.
No. We don't want to do that. So scratch that, delete that from the recording. I would sit next to somebody who and let them grab the phone. Let them grab the phone.
Okay, so now I've been making my calls for a period of time, or I'm an accomplished agent, and I'm not afraid to answer the questions if they ask. So let's teach me the next phase. So phase number one, I'm animated, excited. I know it's going to work for me. I'm going to do it for 30 days or longer. I know hundreds of leads are going to turn in just to a few, but a few will turn into enough for me to make enough money to make it worthwhile. I'm now to the next phase. I'm good at leaving messages. Now I get a live body, ring, or they call me back, either one. What does that sound like, Ann?
So what the mindset you have to have is you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to make friends and and help. And so you don't know what they need. What do they need? People, you're going to hear on the other end, I'm not selling anything. I don't need anything. Oh, that's okay. My name is Anna Sena. I'm a realtor here, local realtor. And I just was calling to see if there's, again, it's the same thing. Anything in the world I could do for you. It's kind of hard for me to answer this question because each person on the other end is going to be very, very different. So what I would recommend is stick with for sale by owner, stick with expired, like do 30 days of each set of people so you could get, because those type of leads, like for rent by owner are investors. They don't want to hear about listing their house. They don't want to hear about commissions. They want to hear about off market. They have certain terms that they're familiar with so that they know that you know their language. You have to talk their language. When you're talking to neighborhoods, depending on who they are, if they're distressed neighborhoods, if they're, you know, where there's a lot of foreclosures, you have to talk their language and change your tone. You can't be like happy catty chat, you know, like you can't just be like so excited that they're so depressed they want to slit their wrist because they're losing their house. And most of those people are not even going to answer their phone because they don't pay their bills anyway. But if you do get them on the phone, you want to connect with tonality. That's why the voicemails are very important, because you want to get your tones to go up and down.
Yeah.
Quickly.
This may be a good spot. We've gone for a while. There may be some questions in the group. People have been putting them in the chat box and we've been answering them efficiently. But does anybody have a specific question for Ann at the moment before we go to the next phase? Anybody have a question for Ann? Just jump out, say something. You don't have to raise your hand. If nobody does, then I do want to go to the next phase, which is if you're prepared, Ann, to make a couple of calls, then make a couple of calls and tell us the background on how you do that.
Okay, do you want me to share my screen?
Do whatever you would like to do.
I'll share the screen. Okay, there's going to be some dead silence in between because I'm going to use a triple dialer. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see it perfectly.
Okay, I'm going to call for sale by owners. I'm going to hit the power dialer right here.
Yep.
Now, what's very important that you need to know is this callback, this caller ID that you display. I recommend this one. It's good to do with two people. I don't like to take the callbacks when I'm on the call because hence the name Mojo, right? You want to stay in your mojo. You want to stay fired up. If you take incoming calls while you're on the dialer, you're going to lose your mojo. And the dialer is designed that way that if you pause it too long, it will disconnect you. So you don't want to do that. I'm going to move my screen here, I think. Yeah. No, I didn't do that. Okay. Can you see it still or
yeah,
no?
We see a blue screen.
Blue. Do you see the with the three? No?
No, we just see a blue screen.
Oh crap. Okay, hang on.
Your desktop.
All right.
Now we can see the easy calling mode.
All right. Boy, where's your help when you need it?
Okay.
Gotta make this bigger.
Drag it.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
We see it all.
Now, if you want to drop a message, you can drop a message. So you can have a pre-recorded message.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Anna Sena with EXP Realty. If you can, please give me a call back. My number is 615.
So you can. Oh, wait.
Hello?
Sorry. Okay, so that's your drop message. So if you're triple dialing and you get tired, I don't recommend this for the new people because remember, you're trying to get the rusty bucket of nails out of you. But if you're tired and you got a sore throat that day, just drop your message. Drop it, drop it, drop it. You can make it for an open house. You can make it for a market analysis. Anything you want to do, you could drop a message. Now, you see my 1, 2, 3, free.
Yeah.
Calls 3 people at one time. If this guy answers and this guy answers, this is what happens.
Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'll have to call you back.
Okay. You could do that in a girl's voice, boy's voice, it doesn't matter. So what happens if two people answer, one you're talking to, the other person is getting that message. When you hang up with that first person, they're going to call you, you're going to call them right back and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was having a bad connection and here I am now. So you don't want to hang up on people. Okay. So number of dials, you could do 1 to 3. We're going to do 3 today. Number of rings, I like to do 7. And you could call the list from where you left off, or you can start it from top to bottom. You could put filters in it if you'd like. You know, saying, I don't want to talk to people that I've talked to in 4 days, 3 days. You can have your script here automatically pop up for you if you like. And here we go. And then you start the dialer. So I have 160 leads in here. I'm going to start dialing. You just follow the prompts. My favorite thing to do. So 3. Sorry, there's going to be some dead silence here.
Oh, we're waiting for you.
Everybody here? Let's see.
You are now logged into the Mojo dialer. Please press the start button on your screen to begin calling.
Can you hear that?
Yep, we can hear it.
But there we go. 3 at a time. Now people say, oh, I want to see the notes. There's no notes. They're all for sale by owner. There's nothing to see. Could be pretty boring. And away we go. Come on. So hello? Hello?
Joni is not available.
So again, I could just leave my fancy voicemail or I could just drop it.
Go ahead. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, what I like to just show you here, if being that these are some old leads, because I haven't done it in a while, I like to check the Zillow to make sure they're not listed, because I don't want to leave voicemails for people that are listed. So this is still a for sale by owner. So it's a very good lead. You know, but you don't want to leave. You got to be very careful when you're calling expireds and withdrawns and FSBOs. If they're listed, you could have a compliance problem. So I like to check them. I mean, of course, you just say, I'm so sorry. If they say it's listed on the market, you immediately get off the phone with them, apologize. I'm so sorry. I had no idea, and get off the phone. Sorry for the dead silence here. I don't know what's happening. Usually what we'll do in our training calls, we'll actually have people ask questions during this dead period, because what happens is that helps you with your 60 seconds and being cut off. So if you ask me a question and I got to jump on a call, now you're being cut off. So you got to ask your question with some intention, quick, and not be afraid to get cut off by the dialer. So I know that's kind of weird, but
I have a question.
okay, look at you, girl. Go.
That voicemail that answered,
Mhm.
did you send your message or what happened there?
I just hung up on that one because I wasn't sure if it was listed. So I just hung up. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Bays. Hello?
Yeah, you speaking?
Good morning. This is Anna Sena with eXp Realty in Brentwood. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. This is about 131 Kingston Street. Feel free to send an offer. I don't really have time to talk.
Oh, okay. Send an offer. What are you offering? What's the list price?
120.
120? Okay, I know you don't have time to talk, but do you have any information on it? Like what it could be zoned for? What type of property? Like, do you have any specs on it?
Yeah, it's zoned for single family. It's not big enough to subdivide. It's on the sort of floodplain partially. You need an elevation certificate. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
Empty lot, 30 acres.
Okay. Are you the builder? Like if we decide to purchase the property, are you someone who could build on it, or would we have to get our own builder?
Yeah, no, I'm not a builder. I just own the land.
Okay, I gotcha. Can I ask you something, Mr. Bays? Why are you not putting it on the open market? I mean, it sounds like a could be a difficult property to maybe sell. Is there a reason why it's not going on the market?
Well, it is on the market.
Oh, it is?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. You have it listed with the real estate agent?
No, I don't have a listed with anyone at the moment. I'm looking into that possibility.
Okay.
I could have sold it last year for 160. I was going to look into building myself.
Yeah,
I decided not to sell when I probably should have sold.
I know.
Now I'm kind of like, I'm not in any rush, so it's like I'll sell it for a good price. I'm not going to sell it cheap,
Sure. I understand. Yeah, last year was a whole different ball game. Would I be able to interview for this position to list this property for you if you ever get to that point?
Sure.
Okay. When would be a good time for you to meet?
Well, I'm not in Nashville. I'm out of state, so I can't really meet you.
Okay, what about a Zoom? Can you do a Zoom?
Yeah, I could do a Zoom.
Okay. When would be a good time? Is this a good number? This 305 number? I could text you my link and we could set a time to just jump on a quick Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do later this afternoon, like maybe like 2 or 3 would be fine.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't do 2 or 3. Could you do, what time zone are you in?
I'm in Eastern.
Eastern. Okay. Where are you? Are you in New York or where are you?
No, I'm down in Gainesville, Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay. Would you be able to do, and I hate to push this off, but could you do tomorrow? Say in the, do you work during the day? Do you need an afternoon appointment every day?
I could do tomorrow. There's a chance I might be on the road, but I could definitely chat. What time are you thinking?
You know what? Let me look at my calendar because I'm not right there. Let me send you a text. I'm going to try and work you in for today. You said at 2 o'clock, and maybe I could move some things around. And I'll text you my Zillow profile so you know who you're talking to. And we'll get that on the books for either today or tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Mr. Bays, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. You have a blessed day.
Yeah, no worries. You too.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay.
Good job.
Woo, yay.
How
I
mu-
don't want to sell that thing, but for training purposes. It's perfect.
Unshare your screen for a moment. Again, unshare.
Okay, how do I do it?
Just
All right.
stop share.
Stop sharing. You're making me nervous.
I'll do it. You know, it's just as easy this way.
I got it.
You did too. Okay. Congratulations. You're 1 for 1. You're amazing. That's why we have you teaching the class.
No, you know what? I mean, I just feel like it doesn't always happen that way. And so,
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You were not amazing. You were exactly what you should be, which is consistent, which turned out to be amazing because the prospect was amazing. You said the right things without influencing anything. All you said is, do I have the opportunity? He said, sure. You know, there was no intention at the beginning of the call for him to set up a Zoom with you this afternoon so you could potentially list his property. But now you have a listing and it really does happen that quickly with some people, doesn't it?
yes, it does.
And don't take it the wrong way. When I said you were not amazing, I meant you didn't do anything that was all that
it's
special.
yeah, exactly.
You did the things that don't take talent. You made a phone call. You
They
were
really
nice.
don't. It's so true.
So congratulations for being unoverly talented. Miss
Well,
Sena.
I
You're
always-
amazing.
If I knew what I was doing, I would be dangerous. You know,
You would be dangerous.
I
No,
would.
Great job. Does anybody have a comment or question about what they just saw? I would, if everybody were on the screen, we'd all be going, yeah, this is awesome. Hey, there's Dakota. Dakota.
Good job. That was great.
Was there anything special that she said?
I mean, no, you did it the same way I would have done it, but at the same time, that was a good prospect.
But you know why he was a good prospect? Because he had the right phone number, the right name, right? The right property, and he set an appointment. I guess you can't get much better when to do that.
And even if he would have said no, he would have been a good prospect. You got to understand that. No, because at first he said he had no intention of really doing that. I mean, he didn't even know the property wasn't listed. And so, you know, I always say no means on backwards. You just got to make friends with them. They're going to love you. You got to make them love you. Give them popcorn. Sometimes they need a cookie. They're a little cranky. Make them fall in love with you.
Well, Miss Sena, we fell in love with you today. We appreciate you doing this for us. You know, again, we train every week on something. Cold calling, like I said at the beginning, is not something people love thinking about doing, but I want to remind everybody how effective it is. Not just because Ann was 1 for 1 today, but here's the truth. Anyone could have gotten that listing. And I don't mean that negatively. If they would have just made the call to that gentleman and said what realtors should say, which is, be nice. You know, Patrick Swayze said it in the movie Roadhouse, right? He said, "Look, when you're in a bar and there's a volatile situation, just be nice." And since Ann was talking about going to the gym but only attending the bar, that's what I heard you say. I went to the gym just so that I could go for that. Now, we knew you were going for a smoothie without alcohol, but Dakota and I would probably add some schnapps just to make it kick. So, Ann, anything else as a parting shot, or anybody have any questions? Anybody else have any questions? Or again, Ann, anything as a parting shot? We know it works, and we know that there aren't a lot of people that will train on it. So we thank you very much for showing up today to do that. You did an incredible job. People will re-listen to this recording over and over and learn how ready they already are, because it doesn't take rocket science.
No.
I do have a quick question.
Go ahead, John.
Have you tried any other dialers, or how did you settle on the Mojo one? I know there's like Red X and Vulcan and some of the other things. Do you have an opinion on dialers?
Yeah, I mean, I started out on a Red X dialer, and back in the day, it was only a single dialer. And so when I heard about Mojo doing the 3 times dialer, it was the oldest, first one to start that. Now Red X has a storm dialer, and Vulcan has a dialer too, but that, again, that's a single dialer. Even your KV Core has a dialer, but it's a single dialer. So for me, it was the triple dialer, and I like the way it manages, and I was just familiar with it. I like the way, and they all, you know, Vulcan does do that with the tasks, and you can, I just more easier on my eyes, and I just more familiar with the layout for me.
And from a background, John, I will say the combination of Vulcan and Mojo are probably as big a combination as anyone else in the country. They seem to have a lion's share of the business. Doesn't mean they're the best. Doesn't mean they're priced better than others. I will say this as well. One of the other leaders of Freedom Team, Tim Hollenden, he still runs a successful team, ran a brokerage. He is very knowledgeable on dialers. So you may want to reach out to him directly. Of course, he's often in these as well. But there's a lot of good ones out there, but you can't go wrong with the 2, Vulcan and of course, Mojo, and tying it to KV Core, of course, being able to utilize what we as a company have as well. And John, anything else as a follow-up question? Or are you good?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
No problem. Anybody else?
I have a quick question. I have a quick question, Eric. So whenever you're dialing 3 people at a time, so you may have mentioned this already, but whenever, like, if multiple people answer, what do you do at that point?
That's when you have that, remember I showed you that voicemail? That
Okay.
says, hello, hello, I'm
Oh,
so
yes.
sorry,
Okay.
I can't hear you. And then, so you talk to the first person, and then the second person, you call back right away and say, I'm so sorry, something was wrong with my phone.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't for sure. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And just make sure, Dakota, you use the male voice because it'll sound real interesting.
No, you have to do it for you.
Oh,
You know, if you have to put that in there. I mean, if you use ISAs and, you know, you have other people using your dialer or you're sharing a dialer, you know, we do have like a male voice or a female, you know, that kind of thing.
And anything else to close out?
No, I mean, I would just say it's super fun. It's exciting. I think when you make your first check, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. I mean, I've sold $1 million houses this way. The fear, the money overrides the fear. And to me, I look at it like a Las Vegas slot machine. You could be one and done, or you could go all day on the machine. You don't know. And sometimes you got to get off that list and you got to get onto another list. It's just like gambling. So, I mean, I guess if you don't like gambling, this is probably not for you, but if you like Vegas and the slots, it's the funnest thing ever.
Why don't you close us out with a big jackpot? You said you got $1 million listing. Explain one time, because all we care about is one.
Yeah.
Give us the one time or more, but give us a 60-second closeout with something you did using a dialer, just got a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
Give us the 60-second version, Ann. Go ahead.
I was sitting, you know, I multitask. I have a family. I had a sick husband at the time, and I only had about, I don't know, 30 minutes to jump on a dialer. I jumped on. My first call was a $16 million listing. Now I didn't get it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't get it. I didn't sell it. But I will say this, I got 2 interviews. I immediately hung up the phone. She was the nicest lady. It was the house that is in the movie Nashville, you know, that series Nashville. And I sent one of my guys down there. I immediately got off the phone. I was super nice. She wanted to give me an interview. He went down, door knocked, you know, dropped the popcorn or chocolate or Godiva or something like that. We had 2 interviews. We flew in Michael LaFido, who's now with EXP. Flew him in, you know, and we were very close to getting it. Anyway, just to have that exposure, to say that we had 2 interviews and got to meet Michael and got to, you know, that just got us into another world, another level where you could just call $1 million plus listings. And I've sold many properties. I mean, probably the biggest property we had through the dialer was an expired listing, 2.5 million in Brentwood. Sold it in 30 days, you know, nice. I mean, come on.
Hey, you know, I have a feeling as we close out today, I have a feeling that most people would not mind getting a commission check for $60,000. So good job on the 2.5. And thanks so much for being who you are. Thanks so much for being part of our company and sharing with us regularly. Again, reminding everybody every Tuesday we do More Transaction Tuesday. You never know what's coming at you, but it's always good. Let's make it a great week. Ann, thanks so much.
Have a great day, guys.
And do you have a link that we can sign up with Mojo through you know?
Not for Mojo, but if you do, now remember, if you do Mojo, you need leads. So
Okay.
the Mojo leads suck. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They're not my favorite.
Okay, we'll stop the recording. Now you can say it.
Oh, geez.
The Vulcan 7 is good. But
So the
by the
Vulcan
way,
7 is who you're partnered with then.
Vulcan 7, yes.
Okay, got it.
and what you can always do, everybody remember, we can always communicate through the workplace chat function, and you can get Ann there. Thanks, Ann, for your time today. Everybody, thanks for showing up. Let's make it a great day. Happy Election Day.
See ya. Happy Election Day. Go vote.
Go vote.